River Road, you got me running way back home. River Road, you got me running all night long. You got me singing some canal boat song. River Road, you got me running all night long. River Road, where have all the women gone?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Niner Nuts. I'm Dan, here along with Superfan Eric, filling in for James today in all the episodes this week again. Eric, say hello.
Hey, everyone.
And for this episode, we have shifted our parlay picks to the middle again because we are including the Thursday night game. So hopefully you watch this before kickoff. All the episodes are kind of out of order this week because of Monday Night Football, but that's why you're getting that this morning. I spoiled that a little early, but but yes, even though we don't have Jimmy B here, we still have Indiana Dan here to guide you through our parlay picks that I've already pulled up here. We have been scarred a little bit. For those of you not familiar with how it's gone so far, we've been scarred quite a little bit because it turns out it's actually hard to pick 7 games. James, though, I know you're listening. You did call the Steelers beating the Rams. It took me some convincing to let that be on the parlay slip, even though the whole didn't pay out. That one was right, though. So I want to give him some massive kudos for that because I was not originally going to pick that game. I thought the Rams were going to take the Steelers down, but that proved me wrong. So anyway, we consulted with each other before on here. Eric, feel free to chime in with these games as well as I go through them.
Sure.
As I mentioned, the Thursday night game that's going to be on in a couple hours from now, if you're listening to this as it drops, it is the Buccaneers going to Buffalo, whatever they call it now, New Era, High Mark, whatever the hell it's called now. They're going to West New York. It will be cold. It's not going to be snowy, but the Bills are coming off of an embarrassing loss to a very pedestrian New England team. The Buccaneers just lost a heartbreaker to the Falcons. We are thinking the Bills' revenge, though. The Bills are going to be mad. The Bills are going to be taking it out on Baker Mayfield. The Bucs defense, surprisingly, is not that bad. Bulls is not that bad at keeping its defense afloat, but we think Buffalo is going to be able to stymie that offense and come out with a much needed win after the embarrassing London loss and now the embarrassing New England loss. Eric, what are your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I think Buffalo is a pretty solid pick in this game as well. I think that the Patriots game is a little bit of a kind of an albatross last week, if you will. I think Belichick just sort of has Buffalo's number, if I remember correctly, and I didn't know to look it up ahead of time. But I think that he's beaten them a couple of times now over the last few seasons, and I think he just kind of knows how to play against them and how to game plan for them a little bit. You know what? I know he beat them because he beat them in that weird, wacky game where he had Mac Jones throw the ball like literally twice or something in the game. So,
that terrible weather game. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, like I know he knows how to game plan for them and to play them. So I'm not putting too much stock into that game. I think that's just one of those wacky matchups. So I think that the Bills are going to probably run away with this game. I think this is going to be probably like a 31-17 kind of type game out of the Bills.
Yeah. I mean, the Bucs clearly can be competitive, but and then the Bills are very up and down. I'm not a Bills expert though, so I won't dissect that any further, but I just looking at this in my amateur betting skills, I think Buffalo should take this game, and it's minus 440. So everybody does. The next game though, this is one of our only 2 1:00 picks. We kind of avoided the 1:00 games because we got burnt by the most. We are very confident, though, that Warriors will go face the Steel Curtain and knock it down. We don't think the Steelers are going to pull this one off. We think that Dougie P and Trevor Lawrence, they're going to go in. They're going to handle that defense fine, and that defense is going to be very opportunistic against a very, very easily beatable Kenny Pickett and George Pickens, and just we don't pick the score line, but we think Jacksonville will end up going on top of Pittsburgh.
You know, this feels a lot like a James kind of picking this with his Doug Peterson heart. You know, his old Eagles blood in him there. I honestly don't think that the Steelers are that bad this season. And I'm not honestly convinced that the Jaguars are that good yet.
Interesting. Okay.
I haven't seen either team sort of really, really rise to the top. I guess I feel like this game could really kind of go, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if we were sitting here talking about this next week and the Steelers had won this game. I think Tomlin is a fantastic coach. I don't think that Peterson really gets the edge in terms of being a great coach over Tomlin in this particular game. Um, I, Trevor Lawrence hasn't done that much this season to really, kind of make himself stand out above anybody else. And the Jaguars didn't look that great just playing against New Orleans last week. Now they do get the advantage of coming off kind of like a long rest. So, that might benefit them greatly. And that would probably be the biggest edge that I would give them in this game. But I think it's going to be a bit closer than what most people are expecting.
If Jacksonville is able, or if Pittsburgh is able to beat Jacksonville, and what would that be? Their 5th win, I think it would be.
Yeah, that'd be their 5th win.
Okay, then yeah, they'll have my attention if they beat Jacksonville. Again, I only have so much time in the day. I know that Pittsburgh has a very good defense, but I hear all the noise about fire Matt Canada. The offense is only alive in the 4th quarter. And from the stats I have seen, just parsing over them a little bit, that's more or less where I'm kind of coming from. And I can see the potential that Jacksonville has. That's more or less why I agreed with James in this one. Yes, sure, we can poke at you just look Dougie P. But when you look at them on paper, when you look at them on paper, at least just from that standpoint, no, Jacksonville probably should beat Pittsburgh. But like you said, Tomlin's a great coach. They did look more impressive last week than they had up to that point. So maybe Matt Canada does pull an upset, which this would be an upset. It's minus 148 for Jacksonville, which is not that big of an advantage. But no, my tune will change on Pittsburgh if they do win this game. I'll agree with you there. I will start taking them a little bit more seriously if they get their 5th win. Because you don't get 5 wins for nothing.
Yeah, I mean the Steelers are 4-2 right now. Jacksonville's 5-2, so they're really not separated by that much.
Which is just astounding, honestly. I remember highlights of how sloppy Pittsburgh and Cleveland played, and then how they got bailed out by the Ravens dropping 7 passes to beat them in that game. I don't know. It's just the echo chamber I have. It's just kind of tainted me into Pittsburgh just kind of lucked into 4 wins. But if they get this 5th win, which I don't want because then this bet slip will be worthless. But no, I'll start taking them more seriously and I'll start betting for them.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving along. The next one, we're talking about my home state, Indianapolis Colts again. We think after that heartbreaker of a finish against Cleveland last week, they will get their revenge against the New Orleans Saints, who, they had a really nice comeback against Jacksonville and almost pulled it off. Still didn't get the win. New Orleans is being held back by their coach. I don't care if that's a hot take or if I'm stating something obvious. New Orleans there's nothing awesome to report about them. They don't do anything flashy on offense. They don't have anything particularly flashy on defense. They're just kind of they're not a great team, but they're not a god-awful team. There's nothing for me to think that the Colts can't handle them and come out with a win, especially with the Colts being at home, because the Colts home crowd is pretty intense.
Yeah, I don't really think much of the Saints this season either. They just don't seem to really be able to get out of their own way for the most part. They don't look like they can really kind of put things together. They're just not clicking. I don't know. Carr's never going to really be much more than just an average quarterback. The only thing is that every now and then he can really blow up. So, I mean, if he has one of those games, that'll kind of doom you there. But I think that the Colts could probably win this game, especially with the home field advantage.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, I kind of don't have that much more notes on this game.
Well, and you know what? And Taylor looked really good in the last game. And if he's going to actually start playing and start looking like he's supposed to look, then you guys will be just fine.
Yeah. And honestly, Minshew against that number one defense in Cleveland, I'm not saying that facetiously, against the number one defense in the league. Yeah, if he could handle the Cleveland defense the way that he did, there's no reason to think that any other defense he goes against, he should be at least getting the Colts in a position to win, whether they pull it off or not. But no,
Yep.
if that's the hardest test he's going to face this, if that's the hardest defense he's going to face this year, then no, there's no reason he can't beat the Saints at home.
Yeah, agreed.
So then with that, our team, 49ers, are next. Oh, yeah, we're not minus 230 anymore, I bet. We
No, probably not.
Oh man, we touched on it a little bit last week, so I don't want to labor it too much. The team stats that the Bengals have, if you're an amateur bettor out there, do not look at the Bengals team stats. Look at how they decimated Arizona specifically. Look at those stats. The Bengals are not as bad as they were last month. I am a little scared of these guys now because the way we played against Minnesota, but we are at home. If we reach the ceiling that I know our talent can reach, we should be able to beat them. And I'm completely comfortable keeping them. I'm not saying that the Bengals are going to beat us. It could potentially be pretty damn hard to, but especially because the Bengals are coming off a bye. But no, I'm not against my guys yet. I don't believe the team is bad. I think in the end, hopefully, I'm hoping that in the end, this is just a little early mid-season slump like we've had the last 2 years to then turn it around and figure things out. And this could be the get right game that we need.
Yeah, I just looked while you were talking. It's still minus 230 actually, which is surprising. I don't know about this game for me. We just talked about this pretty extensively in the last episode. I see a lot of
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of ways that this game can go wrong if we don't get home with our front four and make life difficult for Joe Burrow. So if you were asking me to put all my money on a game in this particular parlay, I would not probably include this one as one of the ones that I was willing to wager a bunch of money on personally, just because the last 2 weeks, unfortunately, we haven't seen the 49ers play like what we expect the 49ers to play, right? I mean, if this was the 49ers of the first 4 weeks of the season, 5 weeks of the season, I would take this all day. I would be like, yeah, we're going to smash this team into the ground, no problem, right? Wouldn't have any concern whatsoever. Now, after this Cleveland game, now after this Minnesota game, I'm a lot more apprehensive about something like this. Can they win this game? Should they win this game? Yeah, they should win this game. But am I willing to bet my money on should?
It's fair to wonder. It's fair to be a little more apprehensive about this one for sure. I don't know. I don't want to think what that position would be like if we do give up that game and this doesn't turn into the get right game where I was definitely scared of the Rams each time the Rams ended up being a go right game or a get right game and we slaughtered them even though I thought we were going to lose, and most people had every right to think that we were going to get beat down by them. So I call this a more emotional pick than a hardline like analytical pick, but I see, man, I'm a little nervous about this game now though, for sure. The next game that we have on here, though, is another 4:30 game. It's the Kansas City Chiefs at the Denver Broncos. The Broncos had a little bit of life to them when they played the Chiefs on Thursday Night Football. Still ended up losing. But now the Chiefs are coming to Denver. Is the, 20? I don't remember how many times they beat them in a row. So like 16 times in a row now or something like that.
Yeah.
Is there any reason to think that the Chiefs won't handle the Broncos again? This seems like a super easy pick.
It all just depends if Taylor Swift is going to be there or not, I think is the whole deal, right? I mean, if Swift is there, then Kelsey plays great, and then the Chiefs win. I mean, that's the formula to the whole thing. So, I mean, there's no way that unless Patrick Mahomes' arm falls off, there's no way that the Chiefs lose this game. I mean, that's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. There is the argument of there's nothing scarier than a team that has nothing to play for, which the Broncos definitely don't have anything that they're playing for this year. But I don't think that's going to account for them to actually show up in this game. They'll be playing for pride, but no, they'll, even if it's a 7-point loss instead of a 15-point loss or a 20-point loss, that it's still going to be a Chiefs win for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
The next one, I loved Jimmy B's. I love Jimmy B's rationale for this game. The Baltimore Ravens going to the Arizona Cardinals and losing to the Cardinals, because this is a very, very feisty Cardinals team. They are always in their games. They don't make it remotely easy for their opponents. The Baltimore Ravens are coming off of blowing out the Detroit Lions after kind of looking decent here, okay there, decent here. Now they're at this high point, looking like one of the best teams in the AFC. We're taking the bet that they're going to underestimate the Cardinals in the desert. And much like in the way that the Cardinals upset the Cowboys, we're taking that the Cardinals are going to throw off Lamar Jackson, give him one of those very bizarre un-MVP level games, and pull off an upset and get their second win of the season. What do you think?
I think this is where you're going to lose your parlay.
You think this could be a trap game?
I think that the Cardinals are just bad, man. I mean, they hung with some bad teams early in the season and got a win over an overconfident Cowboys team, but otherwise they're not good. They're not hanging with any teams. Their point differential is atrocious. They're 1-6. They're not good. Their point differential is -55 on the season. That's just roughly looking through this. That's like the 6th worst in the NFL. They're not good. There's no way they're going to lose to the Ravens. It's not going to happen.
They are the best bad team. I will stand with them there. No, they're not
the best bad team.
I think they're the best bad team. That would lead to a discussion of how do we classify the Browns then, because the Browns are handicapped by injuries. The Cardinals are just the Cardinals, unless you count Kyler Murray's injury.
Well, what do you consider a bad team? Are the Jets a bad team? Because the Jets are 3-3.
Okay, no, I'll take the L on that. That's the way they played against us. I guess I kind of agreed more with James on this, because I remember the way they were really feisty with us, and they've kind of, I don't know, they've got some spirit to them that it seems like, no, they're not getting the wins out, but it doesn't seem like, not Steichen, who's their guy? Steichen's the Colts one. Who's the Cardinals coach? I can't remember.
I don't even know. They're so bad. I hope that I'm sitting here talking to you guys another time and you're like, man, I can't believe that Cardinals bet hit. It was the most amazing thing ever. I mean, I hope that I'm wrong, but I think this is
Whoa, you cut out there. You good?
Oh yeah, I don't know what happened there. Sorry.
Oh no, you're. But yeah. Anyway, just to get to our last game, I'm agreeing with James on this one that this smells like a trap game. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. We'll keep in touch on that one to see how it goes.
All right.
But then
I will text you guys with mockery as the Cardinals are getting beat by 21.
There's reason to believe that could happen for sure. But anyway, the last game, we're picking the another primetime game. We're picking the Monday night football game. The Las Vegas Raiders are going to Detroit to hopefully not get their knees bit off. But for our sake and our bet slip, we expect them to. We think the Lions are going to get a nice bounce back game after losing pretty badly to the Ravens at home on Monday Night Football for the first time. And oh Lord, did they say on the broadcast since 2007 or 2017 was the last time they hosted Monday Night Football? It's been a minute.
Yeah.
But no, there's no. I think you could agree with me here that there's absolutely no reason to think that the Raiders have a chance to beat the Lions if the Lions actually play as good as they can.
I mean, I would be stunned. I mean, the Raiders are pretty bad this season. All they have is Devontae Adams. Josh Jacobs seems to show up here and there, but he's not been consistent. They got Max Crosby on defense, but the Lions should be able to hold all of that off and be able to take advantage of everything else there and make good things happen. And the Lions, I mean, throughout the most part of the season, have proven to be a better team. I think they just got caught off guard by the Ravens this past week, and what to expect there. So I would envision that Monday night game is not going to be terribly competitive. I don't think Brian Hoyer is the answer there. And if I'm not mistaken, he got replaced by whatever those Aiden Hutchinson or whatever his name is. No, that's the
Aiden O'Connell from Purdue.
Yeah, Aiden O'Connell. Yeah. I mean, he got replaced by him too. So, I mean, they're just lost right now. And, so I think that's an easy win.
Yeah. Listeners, we tried to make it a little easier on ourselves. We were feeling a little defeated after how badly our picks have gone the past couple weeks. So we leaned more into the afternoon games, put some prime times, only took one really big gamble, at least on paper, one really big gamble. Feel free to laugh at us if the Cardinals game is the one that blows up in our face the most. But I don't know. I'm with Jimmy B. Jimmy B's instincts are right more times than not. I could see that being a bad trap game. I'll die on that hill with him. But anyway, guys, to wrap up this episode, I need to tell you all about RoyalRetros.com. That is your go-to place to get authentic throwback jerseys of all major sports, basketball, baseball, football. It's all there. If you want to stand out in the crowd or if you want to reminisce to a time when your team may have been better or had their golden years way back in the day versus now, Royal Retros will hook you up. And we're going to hook you up as well with a 10% off discount code below me, Shady Sports. Shady Sports is what you put in to the promo code section when you check out, and you get 10% off of your entire order. Again, use Shady Sports as the promo code when you go to royalretros.com and get yourself an authentic throwback jersey today. Also, guys, we are in the midst of a charity campaign where we are raising money for a crisis center in Kentucky. Why we're doing that is because we want to raise awareness of owner standards not being held as high as standards. It all started we first heard about minority conduct in Kentucky, and then our own CEO, Jed York, got in trouble, and then you could just look back to all different kinds of stories that have come out. Even Dan Snyder, of course, we had a whole campaign about him, but we've just noticed this trend of owner standards not being the same as player standards, and we want that to change. So that's why we started this hashtag and this phrase, owner standards over player standards, and hashtag owner accountability. And also, as a part of that, we are doing a series of shirts on bonfire.com. Sorry, I was trying to pull that up here. This is the shirt specific for the owner accountability campaign. It comes in different colors and sizes like you see there. Excuse me. Definitely missed my mute mic there, or my mute button. But anyway, that's our shirt with the hashtag on it. The next shirt that we have as a part of the campaign is a shirt that we had designed during the Snyder campaign with all the owners in a standoff. It's a fun shirt. We wanted to bring it back for this one. The next shirt is our show cover art that you'll see on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to us. The next one is an alternate version of that, where it's just the goalposts and the texts in black with no background. It's really beautiful design. And then our last shirt is the Niner Nuts Peanut sitting with a bowl of nuts watching his San Francisco 49ers. Not this week, though, because he wouldn't have been smiling watching that game against Minnesota. So go ahead and get those shirts. None of the money is going into our pockets. They are all going to the yet-to-be-named crisis center in Kentucky that we will name once we're done with the campaign itself. But like I said, we don't want any of the money. We want you to have a cool shirt, and we want you to know that you helped somebody in need. So with that, there was not really any news other than what I talked about yesterday with Jackson. I think that was his name, getting suspended. I don't know. Do you have any 2 cents on our parlay picks? Any last 2 cents or any game that you think you would bet money on?
Oh, I didn't really get a chance to look up the games ahead of time. I have some parlays that I did make, but I think a lot of them were very similar to what you had. I would probably look at betting if I was just looking at it really quick. I would probably look at you could try to take the Texans over the Panthers. I think that's probably a good pick if you wanted to get something there. The Panthers are just objectively terrible this season, and the Texans are really not bad. They've been coached up. D'Amico's doing a fantastic job down there this season. So I think that's something that's definitely doable. Obviously, the Dolphins should run crazy over top of the Patriots this weekend. I think that's something that would pull through for most people there. There was another one too. The Chargers over the Bears, I think, is a pretty good pick as well. I don't think that the Bears are going to really be able to do anything this week, and I think that the Chargers will be able to play over top of them as well.
Nice. No, thinking on it, I think the one that would intrigue me the most, that would be the biggest coin flip, would be Chargers and Bears. Ooh, that new quarterback for the Bears, and then the Chargers just keep shooting themselves in the foot. But anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
Anyway, those are our picks for the week. We're going to be back tomorrow with a further discussion about how hard the road to get to the number one spot just got, but you'll have to listen for that tomorrow, guys. That's all we got for you on this one. Outro music by Justin Muth. It's River Road, and we will catch you guys tomorrow.
Thanks, everyone.
River Road, you got me running way back home. River Road, you got me running all night long. You got me singing some canal boat song. River Road, you got me running all night long.